floor, so go
okay.
for it.
I'll jump in. Thanks, Terry. I'm Coach Laney. I'm a mindfulness coach, and I've been practicing mindfulness since I was elementary age. My family is alternative. We do a lot of wellness practices, alternative healing practices. So I'm very, very blessed that I have been given these tools at a young age, and that's why I feel so passionate about sharing it with kids who are in elementary age or junior high age, actually students of all ages and parents and teachers, because I know how valuable these tools have been for me, and it is a gift and a blessing to share them with people. So my goal for this evening is that you leave a little bit better than you feel when you came in, and that you walk away with some resources that you can use in your life. I would recommend using them not when you're overly anxious or stressed, right? Because if you start like that, I mean, some of you came in and said, you know, my kids can't do it because they're so stressed. So when you're in an anxiety, panicked place or feeling really overwhelmed or really worrisome, introducing mindfulness could be a challenge, right? Like anything else, we're not in a state to learn, and we're going to uncover why that is. But you're not in a state to learn when you're very anxious, right? So it's better to do these things when you're not anxious or overly anxious. We all have levels of anxiety, and I would say, for the most part, everyone's got low levels all the time, right? Nobody walks around and says, I'm never worried about anything. It's just, we're humans. That's not how it is. And opening these conversations and realizing that anxiety is something that we all have in some degree. Some people have high degrees, some people have low degrees, some people have medium degrees, and sometimes it changes, right? It's not always the same. There might be an event that your anxiety levels shoot up. And so knowing how you're feeling is really, really important. So what we're going to work on tonight, I have 26 strategies for mindfulness. They're all mind, body, breathing strategies, and we're going to go through them. My goal is between tonight and next week to get through almost all of them. But I know a lot of you are not going to be able to stay the full time. We'll see how it goes, but you will get some mind, body, and breathing practices. And tonight we're going to get a foundation of mindfulness and anxiety, and that's my goal for tonight. So I'm an author of 2 books. Oh, this is frozen. What is going on? Okay, I have to do that manually. Sorry. So I'm the author of 2 books. I gave them to somebody to take a look at. Perfect. So you can pass them around if you guys want to look at them. The white book, this book is a scripted guide of the 26 practices, and it takes you through the practices so you can do it for yourself, your students can do it for themselves, or you can read it and share and do it together. The other book, it's more of a rhyming mindfulness storybook, so it's more engaging for younger kids, although I've had adults tell me they love it because it just is a really creative way of introducing mindfulness and the practices. So they're available on Amazon if you are interested. The cover of the first book, I'm not an author, but I do have permission to use it, and I think there's so much in this image that I love to share with people. So look at the image and notice what you see. Does anyone want to raise their hand and tell me what it is you see in the image?
So one is just like just a view of what's going on currently around, and the other is thinking about a million different other things.
Yeah. So the person who's thinking about a million different other things, we'll call that person A. And we'll call the other person who's just like noticing what's going on in the moment, person B. So when you look at this image, do we think person A, so it says mindful or mindful, right? So is person A, do they have their mind full? Yes? Yes, okay. So, person B would be mindful. Why is person B mindful? Because they're paying attention to what's happening in the present moment, right? So they're in the present moment. Person A is like there's so much going on, I can't even make it all out, right? They got their to-do list, they've got kids, they've got books and activities, driving, right? And a lot of people, when they look at that, they feel like, oh yeah, that's me, right? When your mind is just so busy and active and there's so much going on. So if you feel like that, could you raise your hand if you feel like that right now? Okay, if you have ever felt like that, where your mind is just so active and it's like there's no space for even noticing what's going on in the moment, right? So that's well, I'll let you guys tell me. Do we think person A or person B, you guys can say it together, who do you think would be more stressed?
A.
Yeah. Who do you think would probably have their bigger emotions? Like if something happened, they're more in an angry, reactive, or sad or scared state. Person A or person B?
A.
Right. Okay. Then who would you think would be more anxious? Person A or person B?
A.
Correct. So so you guys already know intuitively, like that having a mind full and so busy and not being rooted in the present moment is going to create more stress and anxiety. But we're going to learn tools on how to notice where you're at and then how to navigate through that. So we're going to just go, okay. So stress is any tension. I like to show this image because I like people to understand, like stress isn't always bad, right? Sometimes we have stress, we're lifting weights, I'm standing up, this is stress on my body, right? If it got to be too much, I would sit down, right? If my feet were hurting, my back was hurting, right? So we can carry certain amounts of stress and it makes us stronger, like lifting weights, or even like working on a report, right? If you have something you need to do and get done, that's stressful, right? But short bursts of stress actually make us grow and make us stronger. It's when you have stress for long periods of time, continued stress, without giving yourself a break, where it can become not good for us, not healthy for us. So we have to recognize when we're stressed, and then we have to know that we have tools on how to relieve stress. A lot of people will look at these images and they're like, how could a puppy be stressful? Well, it's probably not for most people, but if it's chewing up all of your things in your house, or you have to, clean up after it, or it's not potty trained, it could be very stressful. If you have allergies, like you might see a dog and like start panicking, right? Same thing with the flower. A lot of people see beauty. Some people might have a phobia of bees, right? I hate flowers because bees come and I'm really too much. And same thing with the bear. Most people would probably go, oh yeah, that's stressful. If I came in encounter with a bear, whoa. But then you have people who are like nature photographers. They're like, wow, if I came in contact with a bear, that would be like a dream come true, right? So stress is different for each person. And when we start to realize that, we get to know ourselves better and we can be more compassionate with ourselves, but you can also be more compassionate with other people, recognizing when they're stressed and that not all the same things stress us out. The birthday party. We all know that like sometimes social engagements are really, really fun and we're excited for them. And sometimes not so much. Like, I don't want to go, right? There's people there and I'm not feeling good about myself. And when you're lost in all those thoughts, somebody said something mean to me yesterday and they're going to be there, that could be really stressful, right? So recognizing when you have stress is a really powerful tool. Next, we're going to talk about our emotions. So the biggest emotion that's tied to anxiety, does anyone want to take a guess before you read it? I know you all read it already. I should have asked before I put it up. But anybody tell me what it is?
Fear.
Thank you. Thank you. So fear is when we don't recognize our fear and we push it down. Like, oh, I'm not going to really acknowledge that I'm afraid, and I'm just going to shove it down. That's when we start to get really anxious, right? So knowing when your emotions and what you're feeling, whether it's sad, or angry or scared is a really important tool of developing emotional intelligence, right? And knowing how to emotionally regulate. You can't regulate if you don't know how you're feeling. If you don't know what your emotions are, you can't regulate them. So you gotta check in with yourself. I always like to say, and it doesn't matter what age you are, right? You have to be your own best friend, because you're the only person who goes through every single second of every single day for your entire life with yourself, right? Moms, dads, not always gonna be there. Our friends, our siblings, not always gonna be there. So you have to really have this emotional intelligence and enough self-compassion to check in with yourself. Like, how am I feeling, right? And that's the first step of mindfulness. So we talked about the degrees of anxiety, and anxiety is a reaction to fear, but it's internal. We're like, fear is like when there's a threat out here, like you see a bear, most people are gonna be scared. That's a good thing, right? You're gonna go into, when we're scared, we go into a fight, flight, or freeze response, and that's a survival mechanism, right? If there's something scary, if there's a car coming, right, we should be scared, and we should be in that fight, flight, or freeze. Because you either need to like fight it, run from it, or some animals in nature freeze, and that's their defense mechanism. Because if you're not moving, the attention of like a predator might go somewhere else, right? So even people, if I'm not going to react to you, you might disengage with me, right? And if you're not getting what you need, that's a response. It's a fear response that keeps us safe. So fight, flight, or fear are the fear responses. Anxiety, we talked about the degrees of anxiety. So when we look at when we're in a state of anxiety, fear, anxiety, and stress all do the same things to the body, right? You might have like, if you're really scared, right, your heart, you feel that right away, right? Your blood pressure goes up, your blood sugar goes up, your body is flooded with stress hormones, cortisol, right? And you have a shortness of breath, sweating, chills, trembling, nauseous, dry mouth sometimes. These are like signs that you're like really stressed. When you're anxious and it's going on even longer, right, people are like, I have a stomach ache, right? That's a very common anxiety response. I have a stomach ache. When you start to have ruminating thoughts, like for the example of the party, I'm not going to the party. That person, they said something rude to me 2 days ago, and they're going to be there and it's going to ruin everything, and you can't stop that thought, right? When the thoughts just, they cycle around and you ruminate on them, and it stops you from doing something, like now you're like, I'm not going to the party. That's a sign of anxiety. When you let your ruminating thoughts stop you from doing behaviors, or you have trouble concentrating, sleeping, these are all signs that that degree of anxiety is up really high. So these tools that we're going to practice tonight, we want to do before the anxiety gets up really high. Once you become successful at practicing them, and you put them into, like, yeah, I can do this, and I notice that it does bring me some peace, it brings me some calmness, this really soothes me down. And like I said, you have to be your own best friend, you have to be an explorer. We're going to practice breath of fire tonight. If I do breath of fire when I'm anxious, I get more anxious. Don't do it. Right? You have to know what works and what doesn't work for you when you're not in an emotionally dysregulated state. So when you are in an emotionally dysregulated state, which we're all going to be at some time, because we're human, and that's how it goes sometimes, right? There's enough stress where we get overwhelmed. So you have to know yourself and what of these strategies really work for you. And some will give you energy, some will give you calmness, some will give you like a sense of peace. I mean, you might get, some may cause anxiety. Don't do that one, right? If that's not working for you, you have to know yourself. So that's what we're going to really work on, are all kinds of strategies to move anxiety. So this is the focus. Before we jump into it though, I want to just take a moment of this mindful living model. So raise your hand if you think that it's better to be above the line. Like I'm open, calm, curious, committed to learning, and that's better. Okay, that's what the response I normally get. Your hand did not go up. Can I ask why?
Because sometimes it's better to just not know.
Oh, interesting. Okay. When we practice mindfulness, it's best to know where you're at. So everyone's like, I want to be open and calm and committed to learning and curious. I mean, yeah, those are optimal states to be in. But we're not always in those states. So knowing when you're closed, anxious, defensive, and committed to being right is a very powerful tool for you. So now I'm anxious and I'm very overwhelmed and I know this. And I know a tool that works for me. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to have a sip of water. If it's possible, and it's not always possible, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to take 5 minutes by myself. No screen, no people, right? There's a lot of tools you can do. Even for, there's more adults here than kids. Like if you're at work in a meeting, you're like, can I get you a glass of water? Right? If you know you're emotionally dysregulated and like, whoa, I am not ready for this meeting, I always like to be like the good guy. Oh, let me get you a glass of water. It's because I need a minute, right? So it's a kind way of taking care of yourself. And everybody thinks you're doing a nice thing for them, and that sets the tone for the meeting to be a little smoother too, right? When you're taking care of yourself and others. So mindfulness is being in the present moment. We saw the image of that book where the person had their mind filled, like that chaotic brain, some people have called it. They're in the past or the future, right? They're ruminating in their thoughts. When you're in the present moment, that's when you're being mindful. Some ways to be mindful are by using your body, your breath, you're noticing what is happening with your mind. I might be anxious, I might be stressed out, I might be really defensive and not really fit to be in a conversation right now. Do what you need to take care of yourself. That's what mindfulness is. We have this sense of curiosity and we uncover what comes up without judgment, right? There's no expectation, there's no judgment. It's like you really are your own best friend and, ooh, I'm anxious. Maybe just putting my hands on my heart soothes me. So let's all try that. Just take your hands and place them on your chest. Let your eyes close. And just take a moment to connect to your heart. Maybe feeling the beating of your heart. Maybe even taking a breath into your heart space, giving it a little bit of space, of breath, of oxygen. That heartbeat, it's the first sound we hear when we're in our mother's womb, all of us. So just kind of connecting to your own heartbeat, or if your head is on someone's chest that you really love and you connect to their heartbeat, there's really not a lot that's more soothing than that, connecting to your own heart. So when you're ready, I see some of you very connected, you can open your eyes. We call that being heart-centered. Just checking in with yourself, your heart, being in your body. That sets the stage for you to be more mindful and in the present moment. When you do that, the greatest thing about being curious about where you're at, it gives you choice. Freedom of choice to respond. So now when like that chaotic brain, something happens, we're just going to react because we're at the top, we're overloaded, there's not space for anything else. And there's a lot of science about you're not even able to access your executive functions. There is no problem solving. When you're that stressed, you're just like, it's like you're just going to explode. It's like a full kettle, right? There's no room for creativity. So when you practice more mindfulness, that's the greatest gift. It gives you freedom to choose. So now I notice, like we talked about, I'm really stressed out, I'm defensive, I'm not open to learning. I choose to take a moment to myself. I choose to have a sip of water, take a breath, take a moment to myself. The little girl is taking some deep breaths, maybe talking out a problem, using your community, your resources to talk about what's going on for you and problem solve together sometimes. So once you notice what's going on, that mindfulness, that present moment, like, ooh, this is where I'm at, it gives you freedom to choose, which is going to really give you power over how you respond to things. So instead of being reactive and getting ourselves into messes and saying things that we don't mean to say or doing things that we don't mean to do, you have more control over yourself and you don't get yourself into those situations. So we talked a little bit about this, but it's really important to feel your feelings, because when you don't, particularly when you're very anxious or scared, when you avoid things, anxiety grows. So avoidance is anxiety's best friend. Back to the example of going to a party, right? The person talked behind your back, you don't want to go, you don't go, your anxiety doesn't go away, it gets bigger, right? So the next time there's a social engagement, a party, you're like, I don't want to go, right? But your anxiety starts to really fester and get big. So it's really good to notice, like, whew, I am so anxious. How do I know? Ask yourself, how do I know? Like, is this just a word? No. I feel tightness in my chest, right? My throat feels like it's closing down. I get the butterflies in my stomach. I personally, when I have anxiety, get that like ringing heat in my ears. Like that's a lot of anxiety, right? So noticing when you're anxious, and sometimes just when you put your attention there, it gives it space to diffuse, right? Giving it space to be, accepting it. I'm really anxious right now. You accept it, and that will start to diffuse it. If you give it power and say it's going to stop me from doing the things that I need to do, I worked with somebody who, don't get any ideas, students, but he was younger than you guys. He was in elementary school, and he had such anxiety about going to school. Drop off was, whoa, a nightmare for him. His mom, the teacher, the principal got involved. It was like he just had so much anxiety. When we worked through it, like, how do you know you're anxious? My stomach hurts. I feel like I'm going to throw up. I mean, it was big anxiety, big feelings, right? There was a lot going on. And when we were able to talk through it, he realized that he was without his mom at the Bulls game, and he was in the process of, he had germs and was in the process of getting like sick, and he got sick at the Bulls game. And something in his brain said, ooh, when I go in like public places without my mom, I'm not safe. So it was this whole thing. He had huge anxiety. His mom and the principal supported him to go to school, and they worked through that together with him, gave him a safe space, and he was able to work through the anxiety. If they let him not go to school, it would have been very bad for everybody, you know? So you definitely don't want to avoid if you resist it, I'm pushing my anxiety away, it's going to persist. You need to sit with it, you need to feel what it is, you can talk about it, you can write about it, you can breathe into it, you can just give it time and space. It will dissolve. Nobody stays anxious forever. That's a good thing to know, right? Our emotions all come and go. There's no emotion that lasts present in your face every moment for every second of the day. So it will pass. It's just something that you need to go through. And we all do, because we're human. And there's degrees of it. If you do a short-term gain, you will have long-term pain. We talked about that. I'm not going to go to the party. Well, it's just going to get a whole lot worse. And a really good tool is to discuss what is possible and what is probable. So is it possible if I, don't go to the party that person's still not going to be nice to me? Is it possible if I go to the party that person might not even be there? They might be really nice to me. They might not give me any attention, and I might have a great time. Is it probable that they're going to be mean to me? And you have to decide that. it probably, a lot of the things that we tell ourselves in our mind are not usually probable. So if you really sit down and you're honest with yourself, like, most of the things that we have anxiety and worry and make ourselves feel sick about, they don't happen. Like 98% of the things we worry about don't manifest. So knowing that, it's probably not going to go down the way my mind's telling me. Our minds actually lie to us. I don't know if you guys know that, but like anytime you've had a thought like, I am the worst, I will never learn that, that's just your mind telling you a story. Because if you put your time in patience and work, you can learn anything, you can do anything, right? I mean, nothing's easy, but if you work towards things, you can always improve yourself. So when your mind tells you you can't, it's lying to you, okay? So don't feed it. Being in your thoughts is like feeling like that person on the left, like you could just go under when your thoughts are so big and you have that chaotic mind. When you observe your thoughts, like, oh, I'm anxious right now, you can kind of coast through it. You can ride the waves out much easier. Okay. We talked about this, but that chaotic brain, it really is tied into the primitive reactive brain. So you have narrow bandwidth, you react to things, you can't access your higher brain functioning. You're in that fight, flight, or freeze response, and your body's flooded with cortisol, which is the stress hormone, which over time will do damage. All kinds of damage that we don't need to talk about, but all kinds of physical illness, mental illness comes from having high cortisol levels for long periods of time. When you're practicing mindfulness and you're in the present moment, you're accessing your prefrontal cortex, your higher brain. You can problem solve. You can communicate better. You can respond to things. You can work together. And you're flooded with your happy hormones, right? Dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin. So it's really good to practice mindfulness and notice where you are. Now we are going to, these are the 26 practices, my A through Z. I've grouped them here into breath, movement, rest, appreciation, compassion, visualize, and self-talk. So the conversations you have with yourself are very important. We're going to start A through Z. I've taught them in these groupings, but I kind of like the A through Z because you get some of all of them, which I like a little bit better. But I just wanted you to see there's really like a method. These aren't like, some esoteric thing. There's science behind them, and they work. So A is for awareness. These people are being aware of their breath and their bodies. So we're going to be aware of our breath and our bodies. Remember I said it's a curiosity? I see some people moving already. That's your choice, right? If you notice like, oh, my body feels like it's in pain and it's 4,000 pounds and I'm slumped over, and you're like, oh, I'm going to sit up taller, right? I mean, that's your choice. And you don't even know it if you're not curious. So you check in with yourself. How's your body right now? Does it feel good? Notice where it's touching the chair. Notice where it's touching the ground, right? Notice if you have long hair. I can feel my hair touching my skin, or your clothing, or your hat, right? Just notice like what's happening in your body. I could feel the coolness of the air temperature on my skin, right? So notice your body and then make a choice about it. A mindful body, it's noticing your body, but I like to make the choice and put 2 feet on the floor. So everybody join me, 2 feet on the floor. If you have to scoot forward in your chair to get your 2 feet on the floor, do that. Feel your seat into what it's touching on the chair. Push your feet into the ground. Feel your seat long. Align your head over your pelvis. And push the top of your head up to the sky as you push your feet into the ground. So you have a nice long spine. This gives all your internal organs more space. Your diaphragm, your lungs, when we're going to do our mindful breath, there's more space for your breath. So you're going to be able to take deeper breath. The science of the breath is when it's deeper, you get more oxygen, you feel calmer, right? When people say take a deep breath, it's like the easiest thing to do because it's always with us, And there's physiological changes that happen. So mindful body, feet on the floor, sitting up tall, feel your body when it's touching. That's a very anchoring thing, to feel your feet in your shoes, your feet on the floor, your seat in the chair, right? Notice your breath. Once you notice it, I know a lot of us change it right away. A mindful breath, we're actually going to fill the belly to the middle part to the top. So it's like a 3-part breath. So like a balloon getting really big, breathe in. And then go ahead and blow out. So think about it from bottom, middle, top. So breathe in, bottom, middle, top. And breathe out, top, middle, bottom. Go ahead and blow it out. Okay, let your eyes close. When our eyes close, we take away the physical stimulus, and it allows us to feel more. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, it's a suggestion. I want you to feel safe and comfortable. You do feel more when your eyes are closed because there's less visual stimulus. So again, breathe in, 1 into the belly, 2 into the middle rib cage, 3 into the chest, and breathe out from the chest to the rib cage to the belly. Again, 1 in, 2 in, 3 in, and 3 out, 2 out, 1 out. So do 2 more, your own count. Let the breath be as your count as big or fast or slow as you want. As deep or shallow as feels good for you right now. And just focusing on your breath and that body-breath connection. As you breathe, now for the next few breaths, notice if your body moves. So try to breathe so deeply, and it's subtle, but the body moves. Notice where it moves. Is it your belly? Is it your chest? Is it your shoulders? So breathe in, feel what parts of your body move. And breathe out. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Does anybody feel calmer? Yeah, it's pretty easy. A few deep breaths, a few mindful breaths with a mindful body. Terry's in the back yawning. I feel so much calmer. I'm ready to go to bed now. I'm sleepy now. Sometimes that happens, right? Because we have so much anxiety and we're operating with that adrenaline and the cortisol. And once we relax, people are like, I'm really tired. That can happen, right? Because we're not used to being in a relaxed state. The relaxed state, your body might need to rest, and that's okay. Okay, so awareness of body and breath are really important, but so is sensory awareness. I take the longest time on awareness, on A, because it's the foundation of the mindfulness practice. Your body, your breath are always with you, so are your senses. So I like to play a game, like notice 5 things that you see, and after you've seen 5 things, so you're going to like look and name it in your head. You know, like you're looking at things differently, like, oh, tan wall, right? Bumpy ceiling. So once you've seen 5 things, you've named it to yourself, close your eyes so I know that you've done it. Okay, and then the next one we're going to do, leave your eyes closed if you're comfortable with that. We're going to notice 4 sounds that we hear. So silence counts as a sound, but notice 4 sounds you hear. When you've heard 4 sounds, just put your hands on your ears so I know that you've heard 4 sounds. So go ahead and listen. Quiet counts as a sound, your breath counts as a sound, sounds inside of your body count as sounds, like you have digestion happening or heartbeat. Sometimes we really have to listen. Okay, if your hands are on your ears, take them away because you can hear me. Good. So now, 3 things that you feel. It could be your physical body. We talked a lot about, the air, the clothing, what you're sitting on. It could be a feeling inside, how your body inside is feeling, tight or loose or heavy or light. Right, so notice 3 things you're feeling. When you felt 3 things, rest your hands on your chest so I know you felt 3 things. Okay, good. That was a fast one, you guys. Okay, so now 2 things you smell. If you're having a hard time smelling, you can pick up your hand and smell it, or pick up some clothes and smell it. I can smell my hair. If your hair is long enough, you can pull it around. When you've smelled 2 things, touch your nose, so I know you smelled 2 things. Okay, and the last one is taste. So I like to move my mouth around, lick my lips. You might taste what you ate last, or if you drank something, or maybe you're tasting your back breath. Notice what's in your mouth and the taste in your mouth. And once you've tasted something in your mouth, touch your hand to your lips so I know you've tasted something. Excellent. So we can open our eyes if they're still closed. That's a game I like to play, anytime. Your senses, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It doesn't matter if you go out of order. I usually leave smell and taste last because those are harder. We can normally, I usually do sight first because once your eyes close, when you start to move into that deeper place of hearing and feeling, you really start to feel that downshift, right? A lot calmer. You have a question.
You said look for 5 things you can see. I just looked right up on the board for all the senses and I just closed my eyes.
You were fast. Some people took a longer time. It's kind of like with our levels of stress or anxiety. Some people, if your mind is really, really filled, it might take you longer. You might be like, I'm having so many thoughts, I'm having a hard time noticing that there's a blue chair right there, right? Because your thoughts are bombarding you. It's like watching the TV, and if it was turned up so loud you couldn't notice anything else around you. You turn the volume down, our mind, all of a sudden, life is so much brighter and more colorful and vibrant because you've turned that mind noise down. And each and every one of us has the power to do that. It's the most powerful tool you have. And when you don't do that tool, when your mind is running you, it's one of the most destructive things we have. So I'm not saying we don't all have thoughts, our thoughts don't get away from us, but noticing your thoughts and having some control over them, even just noticing the thoughts, allows them to settle. Like noticing the anxiety, it starts to dissipate. When you give your attention to something, if that's not true for you, if you're having anxiety and you're giving your attention there and it's getting bigger, stop. Don't put your attention there, right? So you really have to know yourself. You know yourself better than anyone else, and you have to start trusting that and start exploring and discovering what works for you. B is bee buzzing. B can also be all kinds of breathing. Thank you so much for coming. They had to leave early, so you'll get the recording if you'd like. It was really nice to see you. Thank you. B, it can be any kind of breath, but we're going to do a lot of different breathing practices, so I like to do bee buzzing breath, because this is one when we talk about the mind noise that really allows you to drown out the mind noise for a moment. And I'm not going to say anything more about it because I want to hear what you guys think about it. So take your mindful body, sit up nice and tall, make space for your breath, right? Give yourself some room to take a nice deep breath. We're going to breathe in through the nose, filling up the body. When you breathe out, it's going to be a humming. So like with your lips closed, a humming with your lips closed. So let's just try that once. If I invite you to close your eyes, you do not have to. But breathe in, fill up like that balloon. 1, 2, 3. And hum out. So you're humming out the length of your breath without force. When we teach a lot of kids, they might get silly. It's just the length of your breath without force, right? Some are short, some are long. You get to know, like, oh, maybe I didn't take such a deep breath, or maybe am I constricted because I have more stress than usual. So just noticing the depth of your breath and the length of your exhale. The longer the exhale, the more of a relaxation response happens. So if you can slow and smooth that exhale, you'll get more of a relaxation response. Let's try it again. This time, open your eyes if they're closed. You're going to take your thumbs and seal off the flappy part of your ear. Okay? So everybody sit with them. Don't let your hands off for a second. Sit with your mindful body nice and tall. We're going to breathe in. I'm going to tell you to seal your ears. You're going to do the same thing. Close your eyes and hum. So everybody, mindful body, sit up tall. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Seal your ears and hum. I didn't give you guys full instructions. After the humming, relax, let go of your ears, and notice how you feel. So you were all looking at me like, what's next? What happened? How do you feel from doing that? Did you notice anything?
Calm.
Calm. Did anyone else feel calm? You're smiling and shaking your head, yeah?
It was a cool sensation.
Okay. Oh, some people will say, oh, when I sealed my ears, it was so loud, like a Mack truck through my head, like louder than you would expect, right? That's just your sound and vibration. I promise it's not loud outwardly. You guys heard me do it. It's just like an inwardly, like really loud. But when I talk about like drowning out the noise of your mind for a moment, and even just that moment of like, you can't really be thinking about anything when you have that vibration going through your head and your body. And just that momentary break leaves you feeling refreshed. It's kind of like, ooh, really peaceful. I can see a shift. You guys are like calmer. So we can do it one more time. This time, if your hands are clean, if they're not, just touch your eyebrows. But sealing off sound, sealing off sight. So symbolically bringing yourself inwards, like taking away your senses now, like sensory deprivation. No sound, no sight. Doing that humming, you're going to hum the length of your breath. You're going to put your hands down. If you're comfortable with your eyes closed, stay that way, and just with the awareness, notice what's going on. You might still feel that like vibrational tickle. I sometimes I'm like, ooh, I still feel it even though I'm not humming because it's shifting you energetically. Okay, so mindful body, sit up tall. Take a deep breath in, let your eyes close. You're going to seal your ears and eyes, hum, and then relax. You can leave your eyes closed or open them if you're ready. This is a breath I like to do before I meditate because my mind is so active, just like everyone else's, even though I've been practicing for like almost 50 years. But my mind is just as active as anybody's, but I have tools on how to quiet it and when I want to quiet it. When I want to quiet is when I'm going into meditation. Like I need some peace so I can sit and not be like, oh, I have so much to do and I'm sitting here wasting my time. No, I want to restore myself. If I do like 5 or 10 of those bee buzzing breaths, I really feel very calm and it shifts me down. If it doesn't do that for you, don't do it. Some people feel that vibration. It might make you a little more anxious. If you practice this when you have anxiety, it may not be the right one. So you want to practice when you don't have that high degree of anxiety, but it's a big downshift. Now we're going to get into a practice for the mind. This is C, it's for cloud meditation. And so noticing what thoughts you're having, right? Oh, I'm like thinking about when she's going to be done talking, or I'm thinking about when I'm going to be doing bee buzzing breath, or I'm like totally somewhere else, right? Sometimes it's nice to let your mind wander. Sometimes it's not, right? Sometimes you're having these thoughts that are causing more anxiety. You can take a little vacation from it because you have power over what thoughts stick with you. If you need a momentary pause, right, you can let a thought go. So we're going to practice. Close your eyes. First, you have to be aware of what you're thinking about. So take a moment and notice what you're thinking about. I have people say, like, I'm thinking about you, Coach Laney. You're standing in front of me talking. I'm thinking about you. Well, then you're being present, and that's perfect. You're thinking about me. And if I stop talking, you'll notice all the thoughts that pop in your brain. Pick one of them out, anyone, doesn't matter. You're going to imagine a white fluffy cloud above your head. So you're using visualization to see a white fluffy cloud. You're going to breathe in and then let the thought go into the white fluffy cloud above your head. Like you were just placing it in there, and then blow out through your mouth like you're the wind blowing, gentle breeze, blowing the cloud and the thought away. It can be a good thought, it can be a bad thought, it can be any thought, but just taking a moment to have space from your thoughts is a very powerful tool. Okay, so let's practice this 2 more times. Notice what you're thinking about. Grab onto one of the thoughts, any one, whichever one you grab onto is the right one. Breathe in. Big, full, mindful breath. Place the thought up in the white, fluffy cloud above your head, and use your out breath to gently blow the thought and the cloud away. And watching in your mind like you're watching a movie, watch the cloud carry the thought away. You have space. We'll do it one more time. So, notice what you're thinking about. Some people will say, the same thought keeps coming back. That's okay. Practice it again. Some people will say, well, I feel like I have a moment of where I'm not having a thought. Then you can send an empty cloud away. Somebody's face was like, what? A moment without a thought? That's impossible. It's very hard, but there are moments, and those moments are very restorative. So if you're fortunate enough to have one of those moments, don't pull a thought in. Just have an empty cloud float away. Okay, so eyes are closed. Breathe in. Take any thought that you notice, put it up in the cloud, and use your breath out through your mouth. And visualize that thought drifting away, having some space. And with your eyes closed, so nobody knows, were you able to do this? Raise your hand if like, hey, I was able to do this. It was kind of cool. Some of us. Okay. All of us. Okay, so when you're ready, open your eyes. Not everybody is able to do it, and that's okay. Like, these practices, not every single one is for every single person. You guys were all able to do it. It's a really powerful tool. I have this thought, and I just need space for a second. I'm not ready to deal with this, right? And then when you are ready to deal with it, invite it back in and sit with it. But we're not always ready to deal with all that noise. And getting rid of some of that noise helps to turn the volume down. Very powerful. Did anybody have that experience of the same thought keep coming back? Yeah. So I get that a lot. And then we move to the next letter. So if you have a thought that keeps coming back and it's like, I say keep practicing, because all of these are practices. Nobody is like, I've mastered my breath. I've mastered my mind. It's a practice. We get better and better as we practice, but you notice different things over different times, so stick with it. The research shows that it's incredibly beneficial and valuable, and your own experience. I'm calmer. That's all you need, right? Knowing that you have that power. But director is director of your thoughts. So now I'm like, I notice thoughts and I'm going to let it go. Now you can actually choose to think about what you want to think about. So I'm going to invite you to have your mindful bodies, sit up tall, feet on the floor, make some space, take a deep mindful breath. Feel yourself fill. 1, 2, 3. Feel yourself empty. 3, 2, 1. And direct your thought to something that brings you so much joy. Like when I'm doing this or when I'm with this person, wow, I am just so happy. This must be my passion. This is my purpose. This is what lights me up. If this was all I could do for every second of every day, I would do it. And see yourself like a movie director doing it. You can bring in your senses. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? And really like create it in your brain vividly, like you're watching a movie. Your brain does not know the difference if you're really doing this thing or thinking about it. There will be the same physiological response in your body. So when you're thinking about joyful thoughts, you're choosing to think about joyful thoughts, you're gonna have more happy hormones. Your breath is gonna slow. Your heart rate's gonna slow. You'll feel more joy, happiness. So go ahead and take a deep breath in and blow it out. And with your eyes still closed, because it doesn't matter, I'm just curious, if you were able to do that? If you were able to have your mind visualize. Some people do not have this ability. It's something in their brain they cannot visualize. So sometimes I get those people. If you were able to visualize, hands are like halfway up. Some of us, most of us. It is a skill that if you can do it, will get better over time. If you can't do it, don't practice that. We don't want to create things that create more stress and anxiety. Some people literally do not have that ability to visualize things in their mind. So something to note, but most of us were able to do that.
For that one, I noticed like I was using the thought that I had in the first one, and then the thought that I was having, I was trying to combine them,
Okay.
and then I realized I was getting a little more stress, so then
So
I just
you
left
had
it.
a thought that you wanted to release, but then you were using it to direct your thought, and it kept coming back?
Yes, so
Okay.
I was trying to I thought that's what I was like, no, I'm just gonna focus on me.
Okay.
And then it was relaxing.
Okay. So the director is like, it's like literally you're making a movie in your mind. So if I think about I love practicing yoga, I love dancing, I love drumming, I love swimming, I mean something that you love, I love teaching. I could think about things, I love being with my kids, I could think about anything that really lights me up and I lock onto it. And I see all the components. What does this look like? What does this feel like? If I'm with my kids, what do they smell like? And I can recreate if you like the smell. If it's not a smell that you want to recreate, don't recreate that smell. You do have teenagers almost. So, you have that power to recreate it by thinking about it, and the body and the mind are that intertwined that you'll get the same responses if you're doing it.
And you're not necessarily taking a bad or neutral thought and just trying to make it you can take
No,
whatever you want.
no, I'm not trying to neutralize a bad thought. This is locking onto something that brings you joy. Something that so I do a lot of visualization. This is actually a visualization of something that you have done, that you have experience with, because that's easier to lock onto, right? Future visualizations of what I want to happen might be more challenging. But knowing that I love baking, and when I bake, the way it feels in my hands and the way it smells, and ooh, the joy that it brings to the people when I feed them, that's easy to lock onto and to replay because you've done it already.
Mm-hmm.
So the wiring is in place in your brain to receive that. So it's definitely a good, happy, feel good. This is like I started saying what lights you up. So some people, I've literally taught people who have cried I don't know. what lights me up. And that's okay. Just think of something that brings you joy, right? Hopefully we can all train our minds to start putting those rose-colored glasses on and finding things that bring us joy and happiness. Because if not, that's a whole nother level. Like if you don't know yourself enough to know what brings you joy, that's bordering on like some severe depression. Yeah. E is for energy. Energy is a really fun one. We've been sitting a really long time, so notice your energy right now, right? We're gonna just stand up, because we're gonna shift our energy a little bit. So you can take your hand and just like swipe from one shoulder down to your fingertips. Do it 3 times. Like we call this an energy bath, an energy sweep. So do it to your other side. 1, 2, 3. Good. From your head down the front. Oh, there's like a little bug here. From your head down the side of your body. Go down as much of the side to your feet, and do like a side swipe 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Down the front of your body, as much as the front of your body you feel like touching and swiping, just to get like the sensation of nurturing yourself, the physical body and the energetic body, and then as much of the back body as you can. So down as much of the back body as you can, from head to feet. 3 swipes. Good, and then standing up, let your eyes close. Feel yourself grounded, your feet in your shoes, your feet on the floor, like you were growing roots. And notice how your body feels. There's subtle energy in the body. And when you do that, you're like feeling something more flowing inside of you, a little bit more alive, a lightness maybe. Does anybody feel that? Raise your hand if you feel something. Okay. With practice, it gets stronger and stronger. So you can stand up or sit, whichever you feel comfortable doing. Another way to do energy, so some people are like, I didn't feel it, right? I don't even know what you're talking about. So here, energy is in every living thing. That's a fact, right? So we're going to feel energy. Take your hands and rub them together. This is heat energy. You are now building heat, making energy. Put it next to one of your ears. Sound energy. Traveling, the waves from your hands to your ears. Put it next to your other ear. Is it the same or different? Bring it center. Clap your hands for 5 times. Rub them in. I'll have people sometimes count forward, backwards, sometimes another language, anything to like bring your mind into this moment. Clap again, this time count in your head to 5. Rub them again. Count in another language if you know one. If not, just count. And then clap in the other language. Okay, sit up with a mindful body. Put your hands like they were holding an imaginary ball. Elbows into your side, fingers curled naturally. Let your eyes close, let your shoulders relax. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Palms are facing each other. Blow out like you were putting your breath into your hands, like filling up an energy balloon. And then bring your awareness into your hands. And notice the sensation you feel. If they're hot, if they're cold, if there's tingling, if there's pulsing. Notice any sensation in your palms of your hands. And then imagine that there is a string from one palm to the other, connecting them. And then, like you were pulling on that string like it was taffy, let your hands slowly move in and out. You can imagine like a scrunch ball moving in and out, slowly. Like pushed together and apart. Like you were stretching taffy. And then take the hands and rest them on your chest. if you felt any energy or if you didn't feel any energy, just let your heart receive any energy. There's energy in all living things. If you didn't feel it, it's still there. It's subtle. Not everybody feels it. Breathe in and out. Good. And then when you're ready, you can release your hands down. Anyone feel any kind of sensation? Anything happening? Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
When you feel energy, it's like, whoa. So, and we can shift our energy. People are like, it's so subtle that we don't notice it, but when, like, we're all energetically connected or disconnected. Like, you walk into a room, the kids were in here, you know, they were like, we're gonna pick teams. You're like, I wanna be on their team. I don't wanna be on their team. You may have never talked to that person. It's an energetic thing, you know? And learning to trust your energy it's a good place to be. Learning to trust your gut. In mindfulness, in science, they say that the second brain is in the gut. So trusting your gut, right? If you have butterflies, wondering, being curious, like, are they good butterflies or are they a warning, right? Learning how to read your own energy and your own body when it talks to you. Very important. F, I think I had made a reference to it. We were going to do fire breath. Fire breath is one that gives you energy. So I know it's very late. I wouldn't recommend doing this one, especially with your kids right before bed. You're going to like oxygenate everything. But we still have 20 minutes left, so I think a little energy now would be perfect. So sitting up tall, put your hand on your belly. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out forcefully through your nose. I like to imagine like there's a bug there and you were trying to like get it out. If you need a tissue, I don't know if they're, if you need a tissue, they're here. Raise your hand if you need a tissue. This one, you definitely, if there's anything in there, you want to blow it out. Or you can practice this through your mouth, but if your nose is clear, practice through your nose. You're going to breathe in, feel your belly fill like a balloon, so like it's pressing into your hands. And breathe out forcefully, feel your belly pull back as you blow out. Breathe in, blow out, feel the belly like a piston pulling back. Breathe in, fill your belly. Breathe out, feel the belly pulling in. You can actually use the hand to gently guide the navel towards the spine, like a little gentle push. Breathe in, filling your hands with your breath in your belly. Breathe out. Okay, so that's the preparation. If that's hard for you, practice that. If you're like, okay, I can do that, and I'm ready to go to the next level, only you know. I don't know if that was hard for you or not. And if it is, that's okay. No judgment. This is like a self-curious exploration. Oh, that was hard for me. I'm going to practice that, like she said. That was easy for me. I want to do the next level. The next level looks like this. It's a rhythmic pulsing of the navel like a piston. Each out breath, your belly's pulling in. It's the fastest way to oxygenate your body and your brain, right? Fresh oxygen. When we talk about that brain and the gut, like you want to change, you want to move through your emotions faster than, how do I move my emotions? Moving your body, moving your breath. This is a really fast way to move through your emotions and change things up when that's the choice that you want to take. So hand on your belly, sit up tall, breathe in through your nose, fill your belly. We're going to do 10 pistons out. There's no in-breath now. It's just pistoning the out-breath. Go. Take a deep breath in. Fill your belly, fill your chest, sip in a little bit more air. Like you had a lock squeezing from your pelvic floor up to your head. Squeeze the energy up like a tube of toothpaste. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Let your breath out, let your muscles relax. Sometimes people say, I feel lightheaded, got a lot of oxygen moving. Notice how you feel. If you're ready to do another round, we'll try again, because the more you practice, I know sometimes it's very hard to get those muscles to coordinate to the breath. And so we'll practice one more time. So sitting up tall, hands on the belly, breathe in, fill your belly up. We're like a piston 10 times, breathing out forcefully. Breathe in, fill your belly up. Breathe in more, fill your chest up. Hold your breath, squeeze, lifting the energy from your feet to your head. Release your muscles, release your breath. Notice how you feel. More energy. It's like magic. Our breath is magic. It's the only thing we do without thought from the second we come into this world to the second we leave it. It happens when you pay attention to it, when you control it. You make it longer, shorter, deeper, faster. We're going to do one to make it cooler. It's very powerful, and it's brings you into the moment because it's right here with you, and it's a conduit between your body and your mind. It's the breath is like a direct line to bring you into that like balanced state. So very powerful. Excellent. Did anyone have a hard time with that one? Very nice. Congratulations. That usually takes people a lot of practice to coordinate that. G is for gratitude.
So sorry, I need to take out.
Well, thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for coming. I hope you have some good resources
It
in
was
your
great.
pocket and
Thank
that
you.
you'll share them with your kids. G is for gratitude. This is the most researched mindfulness practice. If you walk away tonight with one, practice gratitude, right? Just focusing, I call it putting your gratitude glasses on. Focusing on who you're grateful for, what you're grateful for. It changes your perspective. It changes your mind when you're like, I want to, think about something that I'm connected to or that's good. Start focusing on gratitude. If you focus on it, it will grow, right? Magically, all of a sudden, I call it a gratitude parade. If I start thinking about, I'll let you guys have a gratitude parade. Let your eyes close. It's easier with the eyes closed. You don't have to close them. But think about some people that you're grateful for. And it could be the same person, or it could be like all the people. It could be like, just notice who pops up in your mind. Like you're watching a movie. Who am I grateful for? Why am I grateful for them? I like to do the nouns for this one, students. I like to layer the learning. So people, places, right? I like places, your house, your bed, right? Maybe somewhere you've traveled, but maybe a safe place that feels really good and cozy. So think about the places that you're so grateful for. And keep looking. If it gets hard or you run out, be like, well, what other place am I grateful for? Where else? And then go to the things. Right? What things am I grateful for? Some of the obvious ones, but maybe not obvious to everybody. Clothing. And having a school, district that actually cares about your mental health, that holds programs for you. A community to have these conversations, to destigmatize anxiety. Clothes, food, shelter, right? The things. The chair that you're sitting on. Good, and then take a deep breath in and breathe it out. So I call it a gratitude parade, and the more I practice, the more I'm grateful for. And it starts flowing. When you practice, it becomes easier. And I have a really grateful heart now because it's a daily practice. Like I will be outside and I'm like, oh, look at the sky. When I pulled up here, the sun was setting, the sky was magical. Like just noticing that and being like, wow, how amazing that I got to plan to come here at that exact time to see that exact beauty. Like, I'm so thankful. You know, so if you can start looking for gratitude and making those grateful moments, and it really shifts your whole being. It's a very powerful practice. The more you practice, the easier it gets. A challenge is, what if I were just grateful for everything? So once you can become really good and you're in the flow and gratitude's just happening all the time and easy for you, it's a challenge to think about, like, I'm grateful for that challenge I had with that person today. I'm grateful for all of, like, these things that are causing me stress. But we learn that stress can make me grow. So I'm grateful that I have an opportunity for growth, right? So taking things that maybe are more challenging, or situations or people that are more challenging, and finding gratitude for that. It's a deeper practice, but very, very, very profound. Okay, H is happy, healthy, another practice of the mind. I like to put your hands on your heart for a second and let your eyes close and think about what's most important to you. What always comes up for me is happiness and health. So that's why I did H is happy, healthy. The truth is, you can say anything that you want to attract in your life. So a mantra is when you do a repetitive phrase, right? So you repeat something over and over. I had a student, she was having very severe separation anxiety. And when we worked through it, it was because there was a situation where her mom was supposed to pick her up from an activity, and her mom was late, and she rewired her brain that, like, mom isn't going to pick me up. So the anxiety got so bad that she couldn't enjoy any of her activities. Like, you know, when she would go to horseback riding, it was like, is mom going to be here or not going to be here? She couldn't enjoy anything out of this anxiety that grew so big. So it took some time before we could figure out, like, why it was there. I'm like, and it became like she didn't want to go to sleep. There was another incident where mom was out walking the dog when she woke up and she was frightened. So there was layering of incidences that, like, can really make anxiety bigger, right? So she had layering of these incidences, and she was able to, you know, be mindful enough, watching her thoughts, noticing what was triggering this sensation for her. Every night became a battle. She was going to bed. Mom and dad would be stressed out. She would be stressed out and crying. It was like they couldn't reassure her enough. You are safe. Your loved one are going to be here. We're going to be here when you wake up. Like, we're not going anywhere. She was so anxious. When we talked about it, I said, okay, so what do you need to hear? And she said, I need to know that they're going to be there when I wake up, that I'm safe, that I'm loved. I said, okay, but they tell you this every night. They're saying these things. It's not registering for you. It's like your wiring is on, I'm not safe, and they're not going to be here, right? And she was spiraling, ruminating in the thoughts. So I said, would it help you to repeat it? And so she came up with the words, we're going to do I'm happy, I'm healthy. It was, I am safe, I am loved, I will see my parents in the morning when I awaken. And she would repeat that. Repeat it, repeat it. So the mind is so powerful. What you say out loud, what you say silently, what you whisper to yourself, what you say in your head, they all matter. So this is a practice where we're going to do it all. I just picked I am happy, I am healthy. I also do it with the connection on the body because there's energetic connections. When you touch the thumb to the first finger, this is like more of an open energy in the body. So there's all different energy channels. So when you touch your thumb to your first finger, uncross your legs and sit up with your mindful body, and let your eyes close if it's comfortable. Just notice how you feel. Then take your thumb and put it to your middle finger. Notice how you feel. Take your thumb to your ring finger. Notice how you feel. thumb to your pinky, and notice how you feel. Notice which one felt best for you. So you can touch them all again. Touch the thumb to the first finger, pointer, second finger, ring finger, third finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky, and notice how they feel, and then notice which one feels the best for you. There is no right or wrong, but keep that in your mind because we're going to come back to it. Okay, so now we're going to add, I am happy, I am healthy. Each syllable, you're going to touch a finger. So we're going to say this together out loud. I am happy, I am healthy. So touching, and there's so much going on, like mechanically with your fingers and your brain and the words. So let's just practice at first, touching thumb to first, second, third, fourth. First, second, third, fourth. First, second, third, fourth. First, second, third, fourth. I am happy, I am healthy. I am happy, I am healthy. Say it with me twice. I am happy, I am healthy. I am happy, I am healthy. Whisper it to yourself. I am happy, I am healthy. I am happy, I am healthy. Say it silently in your head. Keep your fingers moving. Back to a whisper. I am happy, I am healthy. I am happy, I am healthy. Back to twice out loud. I am happy, I am healthy. I am happy, I am healthy. Touch the thumb to that finger that felt the best for you right now. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. Like a wave of health and happiness washing over your body. When you're ready, let your eyes open. I love this slide. It's not a practice, but you become what you feed your mind. If you're feeding it, bad news and drama and negativity, that's what you're feeding your mind. You're going to be filled with that. If you're filling yourself with positivity and discipline and dreams, you're going to be filled with that. And it really has an impact. Whether the words are quiet or out loud, or whether someone else is saying them to you, you're saying them to yourself, words have vibration and have power. So choose your words, what you're feeding your brain with, wisely. Okay, we're going to move to I and J, and then we're going to be done. So 2 more practices for tonight. I is imagine. This is actually a place that I love to imagine because my mom actually lives there. So it's like very easy for me to imagine. If it's hard for you to imagine, you can look at my Imagine place. Otherwise, I invite you to close your eyes and think about a place that brings you so much peace and joy. I learned this when I was in elementary school, and you can create the place. I generally teach to pick a place in nature. So some place where, whether you're a mountain person or an ocean person, or whether you like cold weather or hot weather, or blue skies, or fiery skies, like whatever it is that really lights you up. You may have been there, it might just be a place in your dreams. But create a place that is so incredibly magical. It might be very mountainous, or have waterfalls, or flowers, or trees. So let your eyes close if it's comfortable for you. If you choose to look at my image, you can do it. And using your senses, so this is another visualization technique. The director, we were going to something that we've done. This one, we're going to a place that we've been, either really or just in our mind creating it. And it can be a bunch of places, like, oh, I really like the waterfall from here, but I really like the flowers from there. And I really like the temperature from here and the color of the sky from there. So this is your place. It's your very special Imagine place. And anytime you want to go on a vacation and restore yourself, you can create this place and go. You can use your senses, like noticing the colors that you see, noticing all the things you see there. If you guys can keep it down, it's really hard to do this if there's a lot of distraction, but noticing in your imagined place what it feels like, what it sounds like, what it smells like, if there's any taste when you're in this place. And then just breathing it in, like letting yourself settle into this place, like taking a snapshot. This is my special place, and I can come back here anytime I want, anytime I need. Seal it in with a breath. And this is yours to come back to whenever you need. Okay, J is for Jiggle Jam. Students love this one. This is a body one. It gives us some energy, gets our body moving, gets energy flowing, so stand up. And easy enough is just jump. So go ahead and jump 10 times. Good, and then take your arms up high and jiggle, like wet spaghetti noodles. Jiggle, 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 jiggle. You know what it feels like in your body where you have any kind of block, trapped energy, any pain. If you have pain, I say move slower and longer. If you don't have pain, move any way that feels good. Good, jiggle, go ahead, I see you jiggling. Go ahead and jiggle and jump, get your legs going, your hips going. I like to close my eyes. Be careful you don't crash into anybody or anything if you are going to close your eyes. But just get your body moving. Like you want to just feel so good in this moment. Getting blood flow, getting circulation. A few more seconds. Go ahead, move it, shake it out any way that feels good. And I'm not going to stop until I see everybody moving. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. Let your eyes close. Take a mindful breath. Fill all the way up. Hold it. Let it out. And notice how your body feels. Notice how your mind feels. Jiggle Jam. Students love it. They might get silly. So you got to leave some time and space to settle because it is obviously very energizing. But that's all our practices for tonight. We're at time. Thank you guys for staying till the end.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, I have cards here.